All right, I call to order August 15, 2024, 7:30, call to order. Will clerk please call the roll, please?
Councilor Greathouse. Here. Councilor Steer. Councilor Burlingame.
Here.
Councilor Arnold.
Here.
Councilor Worthy.
Here. Please stand, join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm gonna make a motion to move item 3 to the end of the meeting. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, will the clerk call the roll, please? We don't need that? Okay. All right, we're gonna move to open forum for agenda items, and do we have anybody up there so far?
Oh, I can't read the writing. That's you. Okay, and your name? Fred Naylor.
Please come right up.
How are you, everybody? What brought me tonight to the meeting was, the people have spoken with the police department. I know we have to do some improvements there, but, 30-something years ago, they were in the basement of the town, from the library. We built them a nice Taj Mahal. I believe there's problems that were done with engineering that, because why is there such a problem with water and mold? Things weren't done right. The HVA system there, back in the 30-something years ago, was $125,000. You could buy a beautiful house back then in this town for that. And now we've got all kinds of trouble with the tower, the AC, the mold. And then they buy a piece of property up here, which is a 2-foot water table to move, to put a new place. They're moving from wetlands to more wetlands. It doesn't make sense. I just think we need somebody to look at it a little bit better. I just feel there's a problem with where we're going, heading. We threw a lot of money for that, and now there's all kinds of issues that popped up. Okay, but why? And we're gonna have the same problem. There with the water table is 2 foot, right across from St. Eugene's Church. I know the people live in Tommy Hopkins, and 2 foot in the water table.
That was all brought up, so we're all aware
Okay.
of what the water is over there. And we never bought that piece of property thinking that we were gonna be putting the police department there. It was a piece of land that came up that was, it's right in town. There could be something there in the future. Again, we got it for very low money. So again, that only became an option when we were saying how expensive the renovations were gonna be. We all know that renovations can sometimes be more expensive than a fresh build.
It's easier to knock them down sometimes, it's cheaper and
Right.
better to start over from
Because
scratch.
as a council, we were told that there was only a $1.5 million swing between doing a renovation and going new, so we went down that road. And once we saw that it was gonna be a lot more than a 1.5 swing, we moved over to the renovation, so, which was voted on and voted
That
down.
was voted down.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the renovation's been voted down.
Now, is it gonna go back on November's ballot? You're gonna keep throwing this at the people?
No, I'd like to explain that, actually. So
People have already said more than once, people can't afford it. I'm Social Security, my check doesn't change.
100%.
You
So
know?
let me explain why and what happened, okay? So a vote like that where, we have $5 million that the state wanted to give us in grants. And those grants aren't just like, hey, here's $5 million. They come with a lot of stipulations, right?
Right.
Where you have to have matching funds, okay? The police department, he went on to, this is not a new plan, and it's not a plan that was designed by this council. The plans are 7 years old, so anything that the chief did to either change or those renovations or whatever, basically was something that we were handed, like, here are the plans. We didn't have a chance to say, hey, let's put a building committee together. Hey, let's put this together. Let's do our own needs assessment. It was handed to all of us. And, we're a small town. When I can speak for having a business, I have spent quite a lot of money to open up another location. In my spending, I came up with the operational cost. I came up with a pro forma, how much it was gonna cost to monitor it and how much things were just gonna cost in the end. And some of those processes weren't done with this whole thing, right? So when we woke up, obviously now it's Monday morning quarterback, obviously the people spoke, they did not wanna have this, you know. I didn't wanna lose the $5 million. So
What do we have to put to it to suck that in?
Right, so we're actually gonna be coming out with what those numbers are gonna be as far as what we still might be able to keep. We need more time. We need more time to really see whether or not we're gonna lose the $5 million. By trying to put it on the November ballot, it was gonna give us a little bit more time to see how not to lose $5 million. It wasn't to change a vote. It was to basically look and see if because, I mean, everybody that I spoke to, everybody said that there was basically, you know, the number's way high. They don't wanna spend $16 million. Could we spend 10? So it could be 5 and 5. So I called up my fellow counselors and I said, hey, we might be able to get if we could just buy some more time, we might be able to shrink that number down. So again, we don't wanna lose $5 million for this town.
Nobody in their right mind?
Nobody in their right mind. So we tried to basically get it to technically, right, if it looks like a duck and smells like a duck, it's a duck. It looked like we were trying to change the vote. We had no intention of changing the vote. We were trying to buy more time not to lose $5 million. And I'll tell you, I had Jack Reed's office reach out to me first thing in the morning. Oh my God, you guys, see, we don't just lose that $5 million. Another town also loses that $5 million because we bid somebody out.
Correct.
The other problem that we have is that once you say no, like the grant people looked at us and said, oh, they won the grant. Now, they're gonna look at us and say, well, we got them a grant last time, they backed out of it, right? So we're not gonna look good. So I thought it was imperative that the council look strong to the state and say, hey, look, we're gonna give it one more chance just to look at it, not change a vote, but just give us more time. I actually reached out to a couple of people in town and said, would you fight for that $5 million? And I got enough yeses to say, you know what, let's try to pull it off. And that's what I did. I called up Dick and I said, hey, can you come here and cover it? There was no reason or anything like that for a fast one. I didn't want to lose $5 million to the town. And when I reached out to people that had serious questions about it and I explained it to them, they're like, wow, that makes sense. We didn't lose $5 million. Now, the wording, so we had to make a decision that was going to be cart before the horse, but we only had a slip chance to do it because we had to get the paperwork in by 4 o'clock. The wording on the bond said, like, it did not say on or before November 25th, which is, or 22nd, next election. It actually said August, so the whole thing was dead at the end of the day. But that was the intention, and I think sometimes, you know, some people don't understand intentions. If there's bad behavior, they're not gonna trust your intentions. But if you're trying to save $5 million to the taxpayers, I think it was a good intention, to try to save that vote. But not save it in the way that changed the vote, but try to bring the money down. So that's it in a nutshell. There's nothing else behind that.
If I
Of
don't
course.
mind, you know, legally we had to restate that. We had 24 hours. Okay. The question couldn't be changed. We did what we had to do. The intention was not that at all. I understand how it looks, and I think people got carried away with that. Okay. The other thing I just want to go on the record, as far as just to clear things up, we weren't given something with no time and no preparation. Okay. The work started in 2019. Needs assessments, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, you know, I could give a dialogue of every step. It's a long process, but this by no means was rushed to the table without homework. This town has been working on this. 3 councils ago this process started, and by no means was there a lack of preparation as far as needs assessments, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? So you know, this wasn't just handed to us and we had to hurry up and make a decision. This has been going on since 2019. And we've had the same planner since then, same people working on it.
Right, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Can I just help them out? a little
Sure.
bit? I'm gonna help and update the council on why we're on this topic, and then I'll come back later on. we're standing to lose more than $5 million. The $490,000 that we have in play, because we can't use it in the expansion, we may have a problem with that, those funds also. And that's the state-of-the-art dispatch center. There's gonna be a problem with that. Also in that bond referendum was to help our tower installation. That cost is going up 1.5 times. So that's gonna come out of capital somewhere along the line. Matt Ford, you talked to them on Thursday. I was in a three-way call with Washington DC and Senator Reed's office, his chief of staff. They asked me, the $1 million is gone, you're not gonna be able, and I said, most likely, we're not gonna be able to match that. And because it's generated for the Emergency Operations Center, supported by FEMA. Now, because we anticipated this tower that is condemned, that it's gonna overrun, there's a $165,000 grant that Matt Ford did, our IT director, that is in the pipeline, a second earmark from Senator Reed's office. They asked me again, are you still in that project pipeline? My answer is, I'm not sure, because that project pipeline is connected to an EOC for this overall project. We may be giving that back too. So I'm not sure, and I told them it's connected. The strength of that grant application was to that. We may lose that. That would, if we get that grant, there'd be no cost to the town of Glocester for the $400,000 tower replacement, which we have to go up 40 feet for, expand our pad on site by, it's got 24 by 24, it's 10 by 10 now, and it has to go down 8 feet. And there's all these new rules and regulations. So
Okay, thank you.
That's
Right.
an update on that. We stand to lose that too.
Right.
And I'm talking to the earmark coordinator for the Senate, and she asked me, you're in that pipeline, which we'll know September or October. So
Okay.
we stand to lose that other 165.
Yep.
I'll
So again,
Yes, sir.
so again, didn't want to lose the 5 million because it's all going to come out of capital improvement money with no help. Just so we're 100% clear. Thank you. If you want to grab some chairs and sit on the side, feel free. Sorry to call you out like that.
No, that's okay.
Sit down. How many people are here for the mobile home? Show of hands. Okay. Just to give you a heads up, if you want to speak now, you can, but we are moving this to the next meeting. He's going to explain why, but in open forum, does anybody else want to talk about it real quick? Or do you want to wait until it's put on the next agenda?
Yeah, the next.
Yeah, we'll wait for the
Okay.
next agenda then, because everything will be forgotten by then.
Sure, okay.
Greg
Yeah.
Gable, sorry, Greg Gable's name is on for open forum.
Okay.
For agenda items.
Greg? Councilman-elect?
Greg Gable, 250 Douglas Road. Thank you for the chance of chatting with you folks. I have a business down in Terry Lane, Order Concepts, and my new neighbor is Mr. Vinagro. We're changing the topography of the property by taking out a lot of materials. I guess he's some processing thing he does. And so in doing that, they're using some blasting techniques. A week ago, I think maybe Tuesday, there was a blast there that almost rattled the BMW off a lift the man was working under. We had no notification of it. I'm within a quarter-mile radius, and I believe, I'm not totally sure, but I've already called the building official over here, who had the secretary kind enough call me back and sent me to the state fire marshal. I filled the forms out to the state fire marshal the day after, and we've also sent 2 more emails, no response. I know it's not a police thing. Evidently, it's not a local building official thing. So I'm coming to the council to say, who can I talk to at least get safety for my workers? Secondly, preserve the property which I own and pay taxes on over there. And I'm just trying to get that. It's not an exciting subject for everybody here, but I don't know how many folks felt the blast a week and a half ago. I know the town hall over here felt it.
That's phone calls.
Yeah, there's a lot of phone calls. I got cracks in my floor and my foundation, the building's 20 years old. It's an 8-inch floor with heat. And again, I have nobody to discuss it with because Mr. Vanagel is very well protected. So I don't know if we can get any way we can have a contact with him. I did contact an attorney who suggested I get a engineer, structural engineer, to look at the property, and then he's gonna contact, I believe, you, David. I have that in the process, but it's not quite that easy. That's weeks out, I'm finding, to get someone to come look at it. Before that, I at the very least want the 14 folks that work for me there in a safe operating environment. That's what I'm kind of asking for.
Yep.
Wait a minute, I got the police with me. Hang on.
You got it, you're all set.
I sent the
What else
contact
if I want?
information to you.
Yeah, I got that, I got that
Were you
stuff.
able to call them, because everyone else?
They have not responded back
Okay.
whatsoever, so that's when I went to an
I
attorney.
can contact them if they haven't responded
State
back
Fire
to
Marshal?
you.
Brown,
No.
they're the ones that
Blasting
permit the
company.
blasting, yes,
Yes.
they give the permits. They come to your office, which comes to us, and then we social media that when they're gonna blast, and we try to do it like a couple days ahead of time.
The blast that they had was not within the ramifications they should have. It was in a
That-
class 4 earthquake over here or something. I don't know.
That would be state fire marshal.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, public hearing, discussion, interaction, expansion of lot sites at existing mobile home park, applicant RLM2 LLC, DBA Village on Chapman Hill, location 102 Victory Highway, AKA Assessors Plat 14, Lot 92, requesting the following expansion of number of lot sites from 87 to 100. This public hearing was advised in Valley Breeze, July 25th, 2024. Declare the public hearing open. Well, he's going to give an explanation. Go ahead.
So good evening, Mr. President, Madam Clerk, members of the council, Mr. Solicitor. My name is Timothy Kane. I'm an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of Rhode Island, and I represent RLM2 LLC. We went before the planning board, I believe on August 6th. They were an advisory board to you, and they asked lots of questions. They'd like some more information. We have some work to do with the planning board. We'd like to come before you with a positive advisory opinion or something favorable from the planning board. We'd like to work through some issues with them, and we're going back before them on September 3rd. I hope we can get it done on September 3rd. We might need another meeting. My client, Rick Mefford, who's the owner of RLM LC, is going to be out of the country from 7th till October 18th, taking his lifetime trip or something like that. So I'm asking that it be continued till November 7th. I just went out, and all those folks, I told them that I'm going to ask for November 7th, that we need some time to work through some issues, and if they wanted to check with the town clerk, they could, and they seemed happy with that. I can't speak for them, but I wanted to run out and let them know that I wasn't going to ask for the first meeting in September, because it wouldn't be enough time.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking for. We need time to work through some issues.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing to the town council meeting of November 7th, in consideration of the expansion of lot sites at an existing mobile home park for applicant RLM2 LLC DBA Village on Chapman Hill.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Consent items, discussion, interaction. Approval of town council minutes, regular meeting of August 1st and emergency meeting of August 7th, 2024. B, tax assessors additions and abatement, July 2024. C, financial director's report, July 2024. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to table the approval of the town council minutes of August 1 and the town council emergency meeting minutes of August 7th, 2024, to approve the additions to the 2024 tax roll in the amount of $12,258.74, and abatements to the 2024 tax roll in the amount of $3,270.09, and to accept the finance director's report for July 2024.
Take a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Unfinished business. Disposition of memorandum of agreements relative to certain maintenance or clerical services related to school maintenance for the Gloucester School Department. One, between DPW and Age, the union, and the town of Gloucester, approved by the town of Gloucester on 1/18/24, discussion or action. And two, between the Laborers International Union of North America, Local 1322, which is the union, and the town of Gloucester, approved by town council on 1/18/2024. Discussion.
So, I've spoken with the school committee and the superintendent. Right now, they're gonna continue to the clerk for the town, to clerk for the local schools. We're not gonna fill the supervisor position as they have a contract with the facilities director at the region also. So I just say we remove this from the table until,
I 100%, you weren't here last meeting, but that was sort of, I mean, there's a plan for this year, there's planning to do for next year.
yeah, so let's just remove this from the
And I
table
don't-
and it's there if we need it. Okay?
I'm glad there's a plan. No.
Do we need to do a motion for that?
Make a motion, please.
I make a motion to remove this unfinished business, the disposition of memorandum agreements relative to certain maintenance and clerical services related to the school maintenance for the Gloucester School Department between DPW, NAGE, Union, and the Town of Gloucester, approved by the Town Council 1/18/2024, and between the Laborers International Union of North America, Local 1322, the Union, and the Town of Gloucester, approved by the Town Council 1/18/2022.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Boards and commissions, appointments, discussion, interaction, parade commitment, committee, alternate 2, alternate 3, alternate 4, alternate, position 4, and 5, discussion or action. There's no recommendations from the chair. Clerk has suggested that the chair, that the non-voting Gloucester members may want to move up regular voting members, and there's been no response. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to table the appointments to the parade committee to September 5th, 2024.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
New business, ratify prior action, 8/7/2024 of Town Council. Council will now ratify the votes taken at an emergency meeting held on August 7th, 2024. The ratification is not accept the action proposed. It's just to make clear what the action council took on August 7th. The deadline for the referendum has passed, therefore the ratification does not cause a question to be on the ballot in November. Number 1, vote to declare emergency meeting per RIGL 42-46-6C, discussion interaction.
I think you can table, Mr. President, if you mean to interrupt, I think you can table these matters.
Yep.
My understanding is, for everybody who's paying attention, the clerk has notified the Secretary of State, based upon bond counsel, that it's not going forward.
Yep.
And that action is not going to be taken or ratified.
Perfect.
So it's not going to be on the ballot in November, and it's not going forward. So this was going to ratify that action.
Correct.
It could be possible to go forward for all the reasons you just explained.
Right,
It's not.
correct.
So we just
You
want,
can just table these.
Perfect.
The clerk has confirmed that the Secretary of State has removed it from the ballot.
So are you gonna want this action to be taken another time, or should we just remove it from
We
the
can
table?
remove it from the table.
Okay.
We can table it.
That's not the same thing. If you table it, I'm gonna.
I'm
put
sorry,
it on next.
Remove
remove it,
it.
remove it.
Okay.
Remove it in time.
I'll make a motion to remove from the table the ratification of the motions made on August 7th, 2024.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Never happened.
Never happened. All right, let's see, Steve, I need you on that one. There's gonna be a motion.
That was just the other motion made, so that one can also be removed. At the special meeting, there were 2 motions made.
I will make a motion to remove from the table the ratification of motions made on August 7th, 2024.
Okay, a second?
That's right, just did.
Oh,
Same thing, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, both are gone. Okay, motion to consider so 2 is done, right? 2 is
Yep.
gone. All right. Jumping along. Ordinance policy, state law regarding horses. Horse gate, here we go. Public roads, waste removal, sidewalks, use of town properties, recreation areas, miscellaneous aspects relating to animal control. I asked this to be on the agenda to discuss the town ordinances, whether there's sufficient address issues discussed, mainly cleaning up after your animal, using town property. Chief and solicitor review the policies and laws in place to deal with these issues. I'd like to start with one thing real quick. I think we all love horses, okay? You know, this is a rural town. You know, you don't want more laws and rules, and like you know, some things are sometimes not made a law because they require common sense, and they ask for decency amongst human beings, okay? And we look at a couple of things when we're trying to figure out what's right or wrong, right? First thing we think about is safety, okay? The state has rules and laws whether about horses can be on highways, okay? It's all about safety. We don't want the horse to rear up. We don't want some car who is just trying to get home from work getting in a situation that they don't want to be in, okay? Second thing is, we have to be kind to each other. We have to make sure that our animals, we have businesses in town that they don't want to have poo on their sidewalks. We all get that, right? I mean, we want to be good neighbors to everybody in Gloucester. I love riding horses. I wish I could still do it. I haven't done it in a very long time. If I could ride my horse, listen, gas prices would be so much lower if everybody rode horses, right? So I put this up here just to clear what some of the laws are in the state. And again, you know, I understand it's not like cleaning up after a pooch where you can have a small little bag. Like, you've got to have a shovel and a big bag to take care of horse manure. I think if you're going to be out there riding your horse, I think you got to clean up after yourself. I think that's what everybody expects you to do. I know it can be difficult if you're on top of a horse. Someone's got to hold your horse while you jump down with it. And I got to have a shovel in your backpack, and you got to lift the thing up. Now you got to bring this stinky bag with you. I wish it was easy. Like my dog, I let him out in the morning. He does his business. I know he's good for 6 hours. When you're on a horse, it's not going to be 5 minutes after they ingest food that they're going to go. It's not normal. But so that's just my opening statement about this. And I hope if we're going to we're going to deep dive this, we just have to remember that we have to be good people to each other, and we have to be respectful of property. So, David, do we have what state laws, do you want to clear up any?
Well, not state laws. Locally, as far as the beach is concerned, no animals are allowed at the beach.
Yep.
So I know there's a sign that says dogs. I think the chief and DPW are gonna arrange to make sure the signs are up. No animals. No. I'm sorry. You can't hear me? I'm sorry. I apologize. There was an issue about horses at the beach. No law is gonna be created. Horses, no animals are allowed at the beach, in the water or at the beach. So the police are gonna enforce that. That's number one. That's not gonna be a function of any laws that have to be created. It's already on the books. The only other issue that was raised was about picking up after horses on roads and sidewalks. I believe it's the dog officer had made a recommendation. There's a couple of places in the ordinance that say you can't leave any snow, ice, or any substance on a town road. So any substance would cover poo, right? But if we're gonna get clear, we're gonna be clearer. There's a suggestion to make the ordinance clear under the waste provision, the solid waste provision ordinance, to say you have to clean up after your animals. But I think the president made clear that's the only thing that's being considered.
Yeah.
As far as horses operating on town roads, and it's a safety issue, it's up to the police and the people riding the horses.
I do, yeah.
I mean, if a safety issue is created, the police will take action, but if there's no safety issue, people can ride their horses. I don't think the council wants to change that, that's what I understand.
There's been a feeling of an undercurrent that I don't know how this all started, that this council, I've seen it all in the last couple weeks, has a problem and people are really nervous and this and that. I think one individual situation made this all come to light. I think the lion's share of this town enjoys the horses. I think the lion's share of horse owners are very responsible, pick up after themselves, use common sense. And so I certainly don't have an appetite to start micromanaging. I don't know how that undercurrent started, but I certainly have no appetite to start,
The ordinance is already in place, so I guess we're just telling you guys, it's in place. I mean, there's no animals allowed on the beach. It wasn't like, we're not creating anything new. Clean up after yourself, we're not really creating anything new. I mean, we can clarify it if the council wishes to.
Right.
So
My understanding is the possibility the council would clarify that, just that you have to pick up waste of
Right.
I'm glad that at least it was brought to light, because there was incidences where there was poo on the sidewalk, and the business people in town were affected by that. So we know that it's not from everybody. We know that it was a separate situation. And so now everyone is clear, even the ones who, even the person who perhaps didn't follow through. But now it's clear for everyone to understand that if you ride horses, you have to clean up after yourself.
Are we all good? Show of hands, we happy? You good? Everybody good? Okay. Perfect.
I guess the question now is, do we want to clarify that ordinance to say,
I think we should just clarify the ordinance.
Put it on for the next,
People, I'm sure.
The problem wasn't the beach. In the letter, the problem wasn't the beach.
I gotta say, we're not here to talk about a specific situation. We're here to talk about horse use in Gloucester. It's nothing.
If we can clarify where we can be, that was the question. Can we be on the road? Can we go through the town roads?
it says you can.
It says you can.
Perfect. So we just kind of want to hear that out loud, because we have other residents who think we can't, have been accosting our children, saying that we cannot be there. So I think that just needs to be.
I thought that our solicitor was very clear that you
Yeah,
could be on roads.
Right.
If somebody is accosting you or your child, call the police, not us.
I didn't call you.
I'm just saying, I'm just saying. Yeah, you got a problem, the officer can come out, and that way you just move on and get away from,
We did that.
use situational awareness.
But we did that.
Yep, I understand.
Right, but it's been clarified, we just clarified it's on the road. You know, you guys can
Right.
ride horse on the road,
We clarified
there's
the
no
ways
issue.
to beach. I just want to make sure that we're clarifying that we can use the road.
Use the road.
Okay, thank you.
Be careful.
Can I just, and I don't know if I want to ask this or not, but you're saying in town, do you mean just road? Because I ride my horse in Gloucester, not usually on the roads, but in Steer Farm. Now, if I'm in the parking lot, my horse makes a mess, I pick it up and scatter it through the woods. If I'm on a trail in the middle of the woods, horses, riders, and I ride in state parks all over New England.
We're not gonna make an ordinance for that.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess my question is, when you say if a horse is in Gloucester being ridden, are you including,
No, it's.
or you're talking about
The
down
ordinance says the road.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're not talking about-
streets.
Yeah, we're not talking about woods or a path.
I got ostracized by Mr. Steele last week, 2 weeks ago, for that reason, because I said I pick it up and kick it off the side of the road, but there's a problem with that.
Yeah, we are very clear right now that we're asking you to pick it up.
No, absolutely, no, yes.
So,
My uncle rides his horse all through the woods.
Yeah.
You know?
like, again, you're in the woods, you kick it into the woods. You don't need to call me and say, you're in the woods, but on a street where it's right there and everybody can see it, just make it not be there anymore. Okay? We don't need more rules. Sure, great. Goes great in gardens.
One thing about, from 2 weeks ago, the chief was going to.
This isn't an open forum right now, so
I was just asking if we could ride on sidewalks.
you ride on roads, sidewalks, be respectful to people around you, no F-bombs, this is my right?
I have an 11-year-old daughter with me, 99% of the, 100% of the time.
Yes, just everybody get along.
We're not here to create a new ordinance.
Right.
We're just here to, I guess, explain to you what the ordinance is and then, and possibly
Yeah.
clarify the one thing about excrement, is all.
Okay, so we're gonna move on for this, everybody's good. All right, personnel, appointment,
Are we gonna clarify about excrement?
oh, excrement,
We have to put on the next agenda.
next agenda. First reading on the next agenda,
Okay.
to clarify cleaning up poop, okay.
A
C,
little redundant, but it'll be there.
yes. Thank you all who just came, all for horses. Personnel, appointment, discussion, or action, finance director, senior accountant, financial analyst. Council has received a memo from the acting HR director. Memorandum, honorable counselors from Don Zimmerman, subject appointment of senior accountant, financial analyst, date August 15, 2024. Beth Beltram. Jane Steer and I have interviewed candidates for the senior accountant, financial analyst position that Beth vacated when she was promoted to finance director. We are recommending Lori Chirico of Hope, Rhode Island for this position. Lori has been finance manager for Ocean State Veterinarian Specialist in East Greenwich for the past 19 years. Prior to her work for Ocean State, she served in an accounting and payroll capacity for 12 years at Fane Carpentering, Inc. in Providence. We are recommending that the budget salary be $62,500. In addition, we are asking for the council to grant Lori 3 weeks paid vacation, annual leave, and to waive the 6-month waiting period to use paid vacation. There is no additional cost to the waiting period, as a negative balance are deducted from the final pay. Should an employee leave before accruing enough time to cover their absences. Because of Lori's long service, she currently has 4 weeks paid vacation pending appointment on August 15th meeting. Lori will give her employer notice and start in Glocester September 16th. Lori's references in BCI were excellent, and a memo. Can I get a motion?
Motion to appoint Lori Chirico to the position of Senior Accountant Financial Analyst at an annual salary of $62,500 effective on or about September 16, 2024, and grant her 3 weeks, 15 days of paid vacation, annual leave per year during the first 5 years of her employment, and 4 weeks, 20 days of vacation per year, beginning on the 5th employment anniversary. In addition, council agrees to waive the 6-month waiting period for the use of paid vacation, noting that any negative balance would be deducted from Ms. Chirico's final pay should she leave before accruing enough time to cover her paid absences.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard. Thank you.
Okay. Authorization of representative cities and towns in constitutional challenge of evergreen contracts, law, retainer agreement, discussion, interaction. Can I get a motion, please?
I can give you a brief,
Yeah.
just briefly. Attorney Angel Tavares was working for a firm representing the cities and towns. This is the challenge by numerous municipalities, the list is in your packet, against the state law that makes union contracts evergreen, meaning never ending. So that basically, as you all know, that eliminates your leverage in negotiation. So that's being challenged. Mr. Tavares had a conflict because he went to a new firm. He is transferring it to the firm that's in your packet. So you would be approving this new retainer agreement. And the town and the payment is based upon population. So Gloucester's population represents 2.3% of all the cities and towns involved in litigation, and the retainer by Gloucester would be $2,357.24. So I recommend that you approve it. I think it's worthwhile to see this through instead of just let that law remain in place. I think you should be part of it, but $2,300.
I agree.
All right. I'll make a motion to authorize the town council president to sign the retainer agreement regarding the representation of cities and towns in the constitutional challenge to evergreen contracts law with the law firm MGNM.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Legislative updates, discussion or action. Nothing much there. Town council correspondence, discussion, interaction. Any councils have any correspondence?
Just should recognize Chief Ortman's retirement and a letter he sent to the council. Appreciate his years of service.
In addition to that, I'd like to, he put on there that it'd be good to consolidate those 3 departments into 1 department if possible. I really think that is something we should look at. Just have one chief of police, chief of fire with 1 fire department so they could all work together. Again, they're all separate entities created by the state, so we don't necessarily have control over them, but if we can encourage them to work together to try to figure a way to consolidate. And, I don't know if the town council can send something to them, or we can.
We have a letter right now trying to get me and Walt with a meeting with the,
3 chiefs.
To talk about that.
Okay.
Yep,
So
yep.
it's important to do
So
that.
from this, and I agree wholeheartedly.
okay, department head, any department heads? Chief?
Just an FYI, well, a couple things. Talking about fire departments, I really don't talk about what happens at the police department, day-to-day operations, but this past week, we had a call up West Glocester, and for a big disturbance, they found a woman with a full arterial bleed, which required tourniquets on the upper arm, and one of the officers saved her life. And 21 minutes, no reaction from we had to go to Orville for fire to help out. So the officer was kept the tourniquet on for 21 minutes.
Oh. Please thank the officer.
I will. And there's a few things, hopefully we'll bring them up for life saving. We have a few.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of things that go on, and we haven't hit that. I just want to comment. This was a very difficult, last week was a difficult week. I accept the voter, they spoke, and I accept what they voted, not to move forward with the police department renovations. I personally want to thank you, Steve Arnold, Will Worthy, Councilman Burlingame, and for all your support. And more importantly, Walter Steer, he's been with me on this for 4 or 5 years. Emails, constructive emails from good people, hey, what about some changes, this? And I always try to accommodate that. You people work very, very hard for me on that, and you supported unequivocally the police department. And I can't thank you more personally and professionally for doing that. I really, really appreciate it. Secondly, I am honored to work with Karen Scott, Matt Floor, and Jerry Mosca. You're talking some of the 3 best employees I've ever worked with in my 38.5-year career in law enforcement. They worked so hard to get these grants, and they saw the strategic plan, the comprehensive plan for the police department in the future of Glocester for the next 30 years. Whether it was going to be a new build or on site. To get in, we're talking more about $5.5 million that they brought in to the almost 6 that now is coming in that they brought into the table on to make this happen. So it's unfortunate we didn't get to where we want to be. But kudos and accolades to those 3 employees. No one realized how talented they are and what they did. These were Matt Ford, after hours working on these projects, and the last 160, knowing that we're going to be under budget on the tower, to get that last earmark in on the last day, and then have Washington call me and see if we're still in. We're going to interest, which we're going to probably have to give up. Probably, but we're going to do everything we can. And Jerry Mosca, what the emergency operations, his passion for that program, what we did through COVID, we led the way, Northwest Rhode Island, and now it's defunct because of this vote. Now, that's my shout out to you. My call out is to Councilman Greathouse. I invited her 10 to 15 times to go see the police station, to see the condition, to see how the grants would be applied to emergency operations, see what the new dispatch center was going to look like, see the deficiencies, water coming into the building, the back garage underground. She never came once. And I asked her 10 to 15 times, and I said, please come show, come see what you're doing. And you ignored me every time you did.
I didn't ignore you. I appreciated what you shared, and I believed what you told me, and I was totally in favor of allowing the addition to go to meet your needs. And I wasn't against the addition to the police station. I simply suggested that perhaps it be downsized so that it didn't cost as much money. But I accepted what you said, and I appreciated the information that you shared with me.
You were derelict in your responsibility as a councilman for not coming to the police station. Everyone else did. Everyone gave me emails, after hours calls. My phone bill went, the town's phone went more hours because I've talked to people the last 6 months. This has been going on for 5 years, and you sided with other people to condemn the project.
I didn't side with anyone. I didn't condemn your project. I simply suggested that it be downsized so it would be more affordable. I was not against it. I even said, let's do an early referendum so that you could not go into 26. I backed that. I simply suggested that it be downsized. I was not against the project. I know that you folks need more space, and I agree with that. I simply suggested that perhaps it be considered that the project be smaller. I'm sorry that I didn't go to see the police station. I completely went on your word that the conditions were not meeting your needs. And if you wanna call me out for that, go right ahead.
And I am calling
Well,
out for
that's
that.
fine.
Okay, and you were derelict, and
Thank you, thank you.
and more importantly, two very important people for me, Gene Facto and Christine Matthew, tons of hours to get this off the ground, and we've been working on this for 3 or 4 years to get additions, to get renovations, and then it culminated into a large grant awards that we weren't gonna be. But my thing is, thank you for the people that supported us. The police officers, thank you so much for the support. Unfortunately, they went, and I respect what the voters said. So I just had to get that.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, boards and commissions. Any boards and commissions? Oh, sorry, Gary.
And I'd just like to bring up on 72 Putnam Pike, I've had another request for a tour. I'm not a real estate person. I don't believe we should be having people call my office to set up appointments to go into that property. It's not safe if something happens to somebody who's gonna be responsible for it. So I did not entertain that. Going forward, I probably won't until folks tell me that that's what you want.
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate you though meeting me and the other couple that day.
Yes.
I couldn't stand in that building. It was disgustingly gross. I couldn't breathe actually in there. The sill of the entire floor is completely, I think, unrepairable. It's dangerous. There's a lot of problems with that building. I didn't realize it was that bad, and I went there, what, a year ago? In a year of no one living in there, it's just getting worse. So I think we gave a tour. The people that we gave that tour to are totally understanding that they're gonna give us some ideas of what they think it would cost to take on a project like that, and with that information, you know, we're only gonna use that as a barometer.
Right. We don't have money to be, the town doesn't have extra money really to be putting into that building.
No.
For the museum.
No.
I'm just saying that.
It's something that we're all fighting with, because we don't wanna get rid of historical buildings. But if we're cutting $500 from the rec department, we don't have $400,000 to fix a historic building, unfortunately. So we're gonna take that information from that site visit that was there, and we'll dissect that a little bit. But I don't think any more people should be able to go in there for right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. House-
Perhaps if they do, they can come to council
Yeah.
And
for
we already have an island
permission,
house
but
that
they
go in.
shouldn't be going
They
straight
already
to
did
Garrett, to the DPW's office for a real estate tour.
That was a lot of drug activity several years ago in that building before it got cleared out. And that was fentanyl, that was, you know, we had overdoses in there. So there was a lot of activity that people that go in should be very, very cautious when they go in. But
Right.
that still carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, chief.
All right, board and commissions. All right, open forum. Do we have anybody listed for open?
Will, it's non-agenda stuff?
Correct.
This is non-agenda. All right, we have a new member to the Gloucester community.
My name's Jeff Gross. I'm a new kid on the block in Chepachet. I'm a writer for a medium-sized newspaper in the state of Rhode Island. I'm asking this body to take some corrective action against the speeders and reckless drivers on Route 102 and 100 north of the Rotary. Excuse me. The speed limit is 30 miles an hour. Quite often, including this evening, we had people flying up the road between 50 and 60 miles an hour. In the last month and a half approximately, there have been 2 accidents. One of them was pretty severe. A little over 3 weeks ago, they took one person to the hospital in a rescue. The gray car a woman was driving must have been going fast enough because the oil trail from when her frame of her car impacted the asphalt went on for about 40 feet. That said, there's 2 propane companies on that Money Hill Road, Ferrol Oil and Roycart, not oil companies, propane companies. And if a car traveling at one of those speeds impacts one of those trucks, we're gonna have a mass casualty event. Also, at 26 Money Hill Road, there is a special needs teenager. He's going up and down the sidewalk all the time. He's a good kid, really good kid, minds his own business, per se. I don't want one of these cars, neither do any of the neighbors want one of these cars going flying off the road, striking this individual. That said, 32 Money Hill Road has 2 children, approximately 8 to 10 years old each. They're out in the front yard a lot playing. One of these cars loses control at that speed. God only knows what'll happen. And one step more, I think I can speak for the entire street that nobody wants to suddenly find a vehicle that went airborne in their living room or their bedroom. So I respectfully ask that some action be taken on this.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Chief, is there anything to put out there to try to get people to slow down? If you mind coming up here and just talking about that real quick? I know it's been a tough area over there.
It is a tough area. I spoke to Mr. Gross before.
Okay.
We tried to get some traffic. They were out there tonight.
Okay.
They made a couple stops tonight, not specifically, that's a regular post for us, but not specifically for that, for what he's asking, but they're out there.
Okay.
Well, we'll make a very strong effort on that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Anybody else for open? Yes, come on up. Just state your name and your address, please. We didn't get to connect.
That's all right, we were going back and forth, and I think I
spoke with you.
Yeah? Yeah. The voicemails.
Nice to meet you in person.
Same. And thank you for your preamble on the horse poo, because it ties right in with what I want to talk about. There's an ordinance on the books right now, 217-1. If you read it, it doesn't have anything about decibels or time of day, but it's talking about reasonable persons of the noise nuisance, having put up with noise nuisance. We've got a neighbor that over the past 4 years, myself and other neighbors have called at least 10 times. It's a 9-year-old kid on a full-size ATV, roars up and down his driveway, sometimes 6-7 hours at a time, multiple days, up till 9 o'clock at night. I've got a neighbor on one side of me who has young children. They can't even put him down to sleep if he's roaring up and down his driveway. We call the GPD, they come out. Sometimes they'll talk with the neighbor, sometimes they don't, but they say they can't enforce anything. We actually heard one officer telling the neighbor, I had to come out here because somebody called, but you're well within your rights. You can do whatever you want to. You're on your own property. On top of that, last time I called the GPD, this neighbor, can I give you this?
Sure. Yeah, I think I saw this. This was on the Book of Faces.
Yes, it was. I'm not on Facebook. My neighbor gave me those screenshots. They also put in a complaint to Facebook to have it pulled down. From what I understood, there were 200 comments, very much similar, saying, rah, rah, let your grandson do what you want. We'll come out there and ride with them. We'll come up with our motorcycles. It's just gotten a little bit out of hand. We keep calling, nothing seems to happen. Peace in the neighborhood, peacefulness in the neighborhood is just.
Is the neighbor here by any chance?
I don't see it.
Okay.
Have you spoken with him, I assume?
We have spoken with him. When he first started this, the kid was riding in the cul-de-sac. We went out and spoke with him and said, that's against the law, please don't. And it's sort of annoying, can you sort of tone it down? It's not that I'm against ATVs. My son and grandson have them. they've ridden on our property before, but it's not a consistent day after day, hours after hours, roaring back and forth on, it's maybe a 30-second trip, and all you hear is, you know, ramp up, ramp down, ramp down.
What's the difference, what's the distance between, I didn't get a chance to come out to your house. What's the distance between your house and where this track that they're riding on?
We're in the cul-de-sac.
So it's like under 100 feet?
To
100
his
yards?
driveway, from my house, 150 maybe.
Yeah.
Neighbor next to me is right there, and the kid's track, it looks like a dirt track, is right by their house.
So unfortunately, we don't have, like, this gets to the, you know, this gets to just making more laws, right? If we got decibel readings, then, you know, you're gonna be talking lawnmowers, you're gonna be talking about people who wanna shoot guns on their property. You know, I'm very much in that industry, and I have a horse farm next to me, and I choose not to shoot because I don't wanna be that guy. If I do wanna be that guy, I call my neighbors and I say to them, hey, look, I got a sight and a rifle, I'm going on a hunt. And they're actually pretty respectful of that. You know, unfortunately, this is kind of a civil matter, which council, you don't really get into that type of stuff. We basically have to look at what laws are here in Gloucester and work with our chief to enforce those laws. But if we're looking for more laws, then.
I'm not.
Right.
More laws on the books.
You have an existing ordinance on the books, 217-1.
Right.
It was written in '82, and people had some common sense, and like you said, decency. And
Sure. We're gonna have our
about-
chief come up, because I'm not a lawyer, but have you tried to work out, like, maybe just a schedule to say, hey, I don't mind if your kid rides for, you know, try to work that stuff
A
out?
few hours to 6 hours, or can you do it from a certain time period, or?
Last time the GPD was there, he actually turned around and yelled to his grandson, ride it till 9 o'clock. So it's gotten to where it's unreasonable.
Okay.
All, myself and at least 2 other neighbors have talked to him, trying to get some accommodation.
Sure.
Hasn't worked.
Let's bring the chief in. Sorry, chief.
Very aware of the situation, very aware with the neighbors. It's a grandfather-grandson thing, and he's gonna allow him right to 9 o'clock on his property. And if he steps off the property, rides on the cul-de-sac, then he's ours. But once he doesn't do that, there's not much we're gonna be able to do with that because of the ordinance we have. Unless, I'll run it by my solicitor, unless he thinks there's something we can do with that. It's like if I decided to cut my grass every time at 8:30, and you're not happy with it, it takes 2 hours to do it, the mower gone.
We understand the sensitivity, and
It
obviously
is.
we're, you know, making.
This is a little bit different than mowing grass.
I understand, that's why I'm saying, we understand the sensitivity of it.
Sunday, he was out there from before noon till about 7 o'clock.
I know.
He was out there the next night.
Right.
He was out there the next night. So it's just a consistent.
Right. Did you look up?
It's not only noise, it's just general nuisance.
Right.
And 217-1 is about noise.
Right.
It's
I'm looking at the ordinance now, I mean, it's a difficult ordinance to enforce because it has to be on a case-by-case basis, what's unreasonable, and I appreciate it's unreasonable to you, Mr. Cook.
Not only to me, but to other neighbors.
Right, so I guess, you know, we can talk to the police and see if there's anything we can do.
Just FYI,
I can't give you an answer now, because
Right.
these are difficult issues. When you don't have decibel readings, let's be clear.
Right.
Some cities and towns have decibel readings, right, and that you are or you are not that loud. A prolonged decibel reading is a violation in the city of Cranston, the city of Providence. We don't have that here. So this is supposed to be common sense.
Right, that's also a very slippery slope for everybody in town, for anything that people enjoy in town. Please understand that.
I understand.
This seems like almost needs to be a conversation between a couple of neighbors to get.
they have, this is not recent, this has been going on a couple of years.
Yep.
They're not gonna bend.
Yep.
He's on his property. I have no strength in the ordinance to act on it.
Right.
The officer that went there is tremendous, senior officer. He got there and he heard all sides. And the grandfather said, he's on my property, and I'm gonna let him ride till 9 o'clock. That's his crate.
Right.
It's just not, he's not gonna let us bend on it.
Okay.
And I know the people next door very well. I know, very well. So, and they have young kids, 2 and 3, 2.5 and 1. And I know them very well. It's just, I had the senior officer that went there, we've been there a bunch of times. That senior, he knew, because he's been around, that there's no strength or no teeth in our ordinance to do anything with that. It all comes back if he had a neighbor playing music from 5 o'clock to 8:30 at night. It's when he got there, if he was playing it at 12, then we'd go in there and shut it off. That would give us a little, because that's the common sense, that's where the ordinance gives us a little more strength. But he's in the middle of the day, it's a nuisance. I'm not saying he's a good neighbor, but that's for sure he's not.
Okay. Thank you.
I hope I answered that right.
Yeah.
So can the ordinance be enhanced?
If you do that though, then somebody, even just target shooting throughout the day would violate that ordinance. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody shooting on a Sunday afternoon at their home, a neighbor doesn't like guns for some reason, just reports them every time, and now the cops out there every time for just.
And that's happened too.
You know, like Will said, that creates a very slippery slope. I don't have a good recommendation, but I'm not in favor of adding additional teeth to that, because I wouldn't want that to happen in town.
This is like my humanity thing in me, like, I'd go over with an apple pie, something, to try to fix a relationship. That's just how I tend to try to deal with situations like that, and it just seems like it's either not respectful or, but for us to be able to enforce anything that's very gray on the books is almost impossible.
Then why have the ordinance?
Well,
We didn't create it.
we didn't create it.
I understand, but you talked about decibel meters, time.
Well, the
limits.
ordinance is for what Chief just said. If it's at midnight he's doing that, then Chief can do something. That's not reasonable.
Because that's,
But it doesn't have a time for midnight, 9 o'clock.
that's
is
common
still-
sense, right? We're gonna
Still
shut it down.
9 o'clock on a Sunday.
I get it, I'm not
It's a
I'm not
weekend.
disagreeing with you.
You can't even go out and sit on your patio.
I'm not
There's a
disagreeing.
lot of people in town that don't like what neighbors are doing next to them. And we're in the same position every time one of those people come in here. There's nothing we can do. They have to be breaking the law, or you have to make a new law, and the new law just would really upset a lot of other people in town.
And maybe take this one off, because
I know.
it's toothless.
I sympathize with it. I wish I can. If we acted unlawfully, then we'll open ourselves up to a.
Liability.
So, it's just not there for us to do that. If he goes on the street, we're there. We're gonna take it. We're gonna throw that ADV. I mean, and it's gonna be tough for us to get, because we're not on that street all the time. But we would do that anyway. Sometimes we give you a warning, but this kid's been doing this for 2 years. I know he has. 4 years, okay.
Let's keep an eye on it, okay? You have my number.
Does he ever go on the street anymore, or no?
No, because now he knows we have security cameras.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could I say something?
Yeah.
I've been sitting here for 33 years now, and I know Buster Stale will agree, councils have tried. We have had this conversation many times. We've put forth a possible decibel measurement that we could possibly use, and we fill the room every time with people who are against any type of decibel. So we have tried other ways to fix the situation, to fix that ordinance. The town of Gloucester does not want us to touch it. We have tried many times.
Let's stay in communication. We'll monitor it.
And please call the police department, and we'll go up. They will respond. If you don't, you call me. They will respond up there. And, okay, if he steps up. And he's gonna definitely do that, so.
You know he's driving the car.
Oh, I heard that, but I'm not sure. We gotta see.
We haven't captured.
Yeah, okay.
Just giving you more background.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cook.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else, open forum? Ms. Berry?
Matthew Verrier, Total Hill Road. I had a lot more to say. I just wanted to touch base on a couple things in regards to the situation that was discussed at the last meeting. And I think it suits the fact that we're gonna make adjustments to any ordinances in town. In 2005, Mr. Robler and his wife came in front of this board when you guys were discussing shutting down Door Drive for a moment of time to address traffic issues, people cutting through. At that time, Mr. Rogler made statements that he doesn't feel it is right to adjust the law to suit somebody's own situation without regard for the rest of the community. Well, the rest of the community showed up here today. One person showed up against, and he's in the back and didn't say anything. So the horse community showed up in a whole to prove that we're here, we're responsible, and we care. He also, Mrs. Blanchflower, pointed out that Door Drive is a public road and she should have the right to use it. So I just want to say, we do have the right to use the roads. It's the law. And as far as the sanitation aspect, you can call the Providence Police Mounted Command and they'll tell you they don't pick up the animal waste because it's biodegradable and it's not hazardous to humans. I'm not saying that we're going to poop all over the sidewalk. I have been against that 100% since the beginning of the subject was brought up. We clean up it all, we clean it all up, but sometimes when you're on your horse, you don't know that it goes to the bathroom. You don't. It's not like he's gonna stop, lift his leg and pee like a dog would. They just walk. So if you're not paying attention and my wife's not following him around, there could be times, and I don't wanna see anybody fined or in trouble because they accidentally left something on the road that they didn't know of. And it's all fine and dandy if you go in one direction, you return in the opposite direction, that still return trip is unattended. So, in the worlds of Walt Steer, we set a scary precedence if we start changing rules to adjust that. I also think that quoting a law that refers to snow and sleet and ice is kind of scraping at the walls to try to find a law to go against it. I think that's a little bit absurd. So I think we really need to start thinking about it. Somebody else got up here today and asked for an ordinance change and everybody was against it. But when it comes to this, it seems to be a problem. So again, and you want to say don't go on the sidewalks, that's fine. That's, I guess, clearly stated that we have the right to travel on the road. If you want to keep us off the sidewalks, that's fine. I'd appreciate it if they can go on the sidewalks through parts of town. It's safer, in my opinion. But
I don't think any, just.
I don't think anybody said, we didn't say anything about going on sidewalks.
it was mentioned today, you guys talked, at the last meeting.
Oh, I'm saying
Well,
tonight, there was sidewalks and roads were fine.
No, you guys could say that you go on sidewalks, I just wanted to clarify.
Oh, okay.
But
I wasn't at the last meeting, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine, I just wanted to touch base on it, so that's fine, I appreciate it, but I stand behind you guys 100% without leaving poop in a business district. If I had a business in town, I wouldn't want it either. But I think once we start changing ordinances, it gets really scary for the people that do things by accident and on a back road in the middle of the woods. And to have to climb off your horse, to scrape something off the side of the road, could get a little bit frustrating and dangerous. Difficult for some people to get on and off those steps. But that's what I wanted to speak about. So, have a good day. Actually, while I'm here, I wanted to touch base. Steve, you had mentioned that you didn't know why everyone thought the town council wanted to ban horses. If you look at the title of Mr. Martin's article, I think it sums it up. I commented and tried to support you guys as much as possible.
I will,
I knew nobody I spoke with wanted to.
I'll say this, it was frustrating to me that of all the people that showed up here tonight with sort of a leap to a conclusion, I got a call from a concerned citizen, one concerned citizen, about that. And anybody's always welcome to call, anybody on the council. The one concerned citizen about this is standing right here. So I appreciate you reaching out.
Yeah.
And I want to remind everybody before we get worked up about miscommunication and rumor it's rampant, And everybody in the town council is here to answer the phone, respond to an email. I appreciate you reaching out
Yeah,
because you were crystal clear with what my feeling was on the situation, so.
Yeah, the article, I believe, made it look like you guys were pushing for something that I knew none of you were through private conversations and the opinion I got at the last public meeting. I didn't think anyone was on board for that, so I think it did lead to a lot of upset people.
I'm glad people generally are happy with the discussion here tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Stop reading Facebook. It's not the real world. Anybody else? Hello.
We all know who I am. I'm the officer for the Animal Control. I'm Jennifer Grundy. To answer your question regarding the ordinance, it took me a lot of time and effort to put into. We're not changing anything. We're just adding a line. That's it. I'm not against the horses by any means. I think they're wonderful. It just would be nice if we could just err of caution walking certain places with them. Which I feel everyone is, safety is a top issue. Again, we're not changing an ordinance, we're simply adding it. Because if there's not enough specifics to that ordinance, it just has to do with, and I think David stated it, about excrement. We're just gonna make it more specific. That's all. There's no change to it, it's just an amendment.
When you add to something, it changes it.
I understand that, but it's not this huge, like, oh, we're changing all, it's just a line. I understand that.
I don't wanna see people get in trouble
It's not.
by accident.
It took a lot of effort for me to put in the line of
If you
what
could
it
just
was.
direct to us,
Sorry, I'm just
because
sorry.
we can't have cross conversations,
It
please.
just took me a lot of time to specifically set it up, so it wasn't an issue for everybody, that it was across the board for everybody. So
Sure.
they could understand it, and there wasn't any waves in the ocean.
And I'm pretty sure Chief will have some discretion if, if the first time, I'm sure he probably, Chief will be like, well, that happened, don't do it again. Chief's pretty good with warnings.
Yeah.
I think it'd be okay.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, can I get a motion?
We got the executive session, right?
Yep.
That was the first one?
We're gonna go to the first one. No? Last
First
two.
one we're all set.
Okay, perfect.
I'm sorry. First one we're all set, that matter was tabled.
Make a motion to seek to convene to closed executive session pursuant to A, discussion by council vote or other action pursuant to RIGL 42-46-5, A2, sessions pertaining to collective bargaining or litigation, or work sessions pertaining to collective bargaining, litigation, or potential litigation. 1, potential litigation, zoning violations. B, discussion by council vote or other action pursuant to RIGL 42-46-5A1, sessions pertaining to any discussion of the job performance, etc. 1, personnel.
Second. Clerk, call the roll.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, motion passed. 5 minutes, please.